Hi, and welcome back to the Suburban Chateau. My name is Stephanie Everett, and I'm very excited to be sharing with you a journey that my husband and I recently took to the Rhine River. And on today's video, we're going to explore the incredible city of Strasbourg, France. Now, of course, the boat docked in Strasbourg, and we had such an incredible opportunity to see the town, not only by foot, but also by a canal boat tour. And we got to see all areas of Strasbourg. And I had no idea it was completely surrounded by canals. And this was part of the old defense system of Strasbourg, France. And Strasbourg is a super important city in Europe, really a seat of power and political goings on as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that as we look at the different things we saw in Strasbourg. But firstly, we saw some of the old town Strasbourg, got to eat some great food there, got to walk the streets a little bit and see, of course, the incredible architecture, as I'm always saying about these towns. But for me, probably the most incredible thing we saw in Strasbourg was the Cathedral of Notre. And I can't wait to share that with you. It was quite an impressive cathedral, and just really made some memorable moments along our trip. Well, it was time to see Strasbourg, France, and we were following along with this map, and we learned when we got there that Strasbourg was completely surrounded by canals as a defense system and also as a means of getting from one place to another. We had a lovely walking tour with a guide that showed us a lot about the architecture of Old Town Strasbourg, which is what we're seeing here. Many post and beam construction again, and she talked about how on some of the buildings, if the post and beam had been highly carved, it meant that the owner of the building was more wealthy. So we looked at some of those, and we definitely saw those in the square of the town. We also learned that those attic rooms with the little windows, they actually use those, and sometimes they stored goods in the attic to keep them away from the water and the canals and all of the things that were in Strasbourg. I found that fascinating. And then it was time to see the Notre Dame Cathedral. The Strasbourg Cathedral, or the Cathedral of Our Lady of Strasbourg, is also known as the Cathedral of Notre Dame of Strasbourg. The cathedral itself is a combination of both Romanesque and Gothic architecture. The cathedral's construction started in the year 1015 and was finished in 1439. Architect Erwin von Steinbach and his sons were credited for the major contributions to the style of the cathedral. But his original plans for a double spire were not followed, and instead a single octagonal-shaped tower was built on the north side of the facade. The Strasbourg Cathedral stands 466 feet high and is the sixth tallest church in the world and the tallest remaining structure that was built entirely during the Middle Ages. The church was fashioned of pink sandstone. However, it requires much maintenance and is constantly being renovated. Of course, the interior of the Cathedral of Notre of Strasbourg is very impressive, and it features an incredible amount of stained glass, and each of these windows were so exciting to see. One of the highlights of the interior of this impressive church is the astronomical clock that is located in the south transept. The current clock replaced two previous clocks that stood in the cathedral and was built between 1837 and 1842. The clock stands 59 feet high and shows the official time, indicated solar time, the day of the week, the month, the year, and the zodiac sign. Animated characters launch into movement at different hours of the day. Strasbourg, France is the largest city and governing city of the Grand Est section of eastern France. It's located at the border of Germany in the historic region of Alsace. It is the official seat of the European Parliament. The city has a population of about 300,000, and the surrounding areas bring that population closer to 500,000. It is the 8th largest city in France. It is one of 4 capitals of the European Union, along with Brussels, Luxembourg, and Frankfurt. The city is considered a hub of Franco-German culture and is home to the second largest university in France, the University of Strasbourg. In addition to strong roots in Catholicism, Strasbourg played an important part in the Protestant Reformation and was also one of the first centers of the printing industry with Gutenberg's invention. Well, our canal boat tour ended and we had just a few more moments to truly enjoy that town center in the old section of Strasbourg. We got to take one more look at the town center and, of course, the Cathedral of Notre Dame. thank you so much for joining me on day 4 of our Rhine River adventure. I hope you stick it out with us. We have a few more places to stop, but what an incredible trip it was for us, a trip of a lifetime, and so glad you could join us here at the Suburban Chateau.